You see it and your heart leaps. A flight for $89. What a deal. But by the time you've paid to bring a bag, chosen a seat so you can sit with your family, and made sure you can board before the overhead bins fill, that $89 fare has quietly doubled. The airlines know this, and they've designed the entire booking experience to keep you from noticing until it's too late. Here's the truth they rely on. The advertised fare is just the cover charge. The real price is assembled, piece by piece, out of fees that used to be included for free and now quietly generate billions. Today, I'll reveal 15 airline secrets passengers are almost never told and how to beat each one. Stay with me, because the secret at number 4 can get you a full refund most travelers don't know they're entitled to. And number 1 is the single habit that stops the airlines from ever fooling you with a fake low fare again. Here's the one idea behind all 15. For decades, airlines competed on ticket price, then they discovered something more profitable: unbundling. Take everything that used to come with your ticket, a seat, a bag, boarding, and sell each one back to you separately. Almost every trick here is a piece of that strategy. Let's start with the fare that started it all. Number 15, the cover charge fare. That tempting low price you see first isn't really the price of flying anywhere. It's the price of a seat on the plane and almost nothing else, the bare minimum, stripped of everything that makes a flight comfortable or even practical. Here's the reality. A fare advertised at $89 can easily become $200 once you've added a checked bag, a seat assignment, and priority boarding. The base fare is deliberately kept low to win the price comparison and pull you in, but it's really just the cover charge to get in the door. Everything you'd actually want, and often need, is sold separately from there. So train yourself to ignore the headline fare and calculate the true, all-in cost, fare plus bags plus seat plus anything else you'll realistically need. Only then compare airlines. A cheap flight can easily be the most expensive once the extras are counted. And those extras are revealed to you in the most manipulative way possible. Number 14, the drip pricing maze. Notice how you never see the full price all at once? Instead, the cost drips out slowly, one screen at a time, as you click deeper into the booking. First the fare, then bags, then seats, then insurance, then priority. This is called drip pricing, and it's deliberate. Here's why it works. By revealing costs gradually, the airline keeps that attractive low number in your mind while you slowly accumulate add-ons. Each individual fee feels small in the moment, and having already invested time and mental energy into the booking, you're psychologically committed to finishing rather than starting over elsewhere. By the time you see the real total, you've clicked pay almost on autopilot. The maze is designed to wear down your resistance one screen at a time, so slow down and add it all up before you commit. Better yet, decide in advance exactly which extras you truly need, and treat every mid-booking upsell as something to decline by default. When you know your real total going in, the drip pricing maze can't quietly inflate it, and the most profitable drip of all is a seat. Number 13, the seat fee for nothing. Choosing your seat has become one of the airline's biggest moneymakers, generating billions of dollars a year. And here's the part that stings. That seat costs the airline essentially nothing to provide. You're paying purely for the privilege of choosing where to sit on a plane you've already bought a ticket for. Here's what airlines know but won't say openly. Most passengers who pay to select a seat would happily accept a perfectly fine seat for free if it were simply offered to them. The fee exists because they've made choosing feel essential and made not choosing feel risky. Some airlines even layer it, charge you to pick a seat, then charge more for a preferred seat, fees stacked on top of fees, for something that costs them nothing. So unless you have a specific need, know that a seat fee is often the easiest one to skip, which leads directly to the next secret. And it especially punishes one group unfairly. Number 12, the family separation squeeze. Here's one of the most cynical fees of all. When a family books without paying for seat selection, the airline's system will often scatter them across the plane, separating parents from young children. The solution they offer? Pay the seat selection fee, per person, to sit together. Think about the pressure that creates. No parent wants their small child seated alone rows away among strangers. So families feel forced to pay $25, $50 a person, just to not be split up. It's not that the seats together don't exist. It's that the system withholds them unless you pay. Some airlines have been pushed by regulators to let families sit together for free, but the squeeze remains widespread, and it targets exactly the travelers least able to just walk away. So if you're traveling with children, look for airlines with family seating guarantees, and check the rules before booking. And if you're separated at the gate, calmly ask the agent to reseat you together. They often can, and often will, at no charge. Now let's talk about the fee everyone knows but few beat. Number 11. The baggage bonanza. Baggage fees are the classic airline add-on, and they're enormous business, generating billions of dollars a year for the industry. What used to be a basic part of your ticket, bringing your belongings, is now a separate, escalating charge. Here's how it stacks up. A first checked bag might run $35, a second more, and on many budget airlines, even a carry-on now costs extra. Miss the online window and pay at the airport, and it's pricier still. The airlines have carefully unbundled the simple act of traveling with your things into a series of fees, each one framed as your choice, when really, you just want to bring clothes on your trip. So pack light and smart, travel with a carry-on where it's free, weigh your bags at home to avoid overage charges, and always pay for bags online in advance, rather than at the counter, where they cost more. And as we'll see shortly, the right credit card can wipe these fees out entirely. But first, a fee that hides inside the fare itself. Number 10. The fuel surcharge ghost. Buried inside many fares is a charge called a fuel surcharge. Airlines introduced these years ago when oil prices spiked, arguing they needed to cover unpredictable fuel costs. Here's the ghost. On many airlines, that surcharge never really went away, even when fuel prices fell. Here's the quiet trick. The fuel surcharge lets airlines split the true cost of your ticket into a lower-looking base fare, plus a separate surcharge, which makes the advertised price look cheaper, while the total stays high. It can also let them keep the real cost of flying obscured, and in some cases, dodge certain rules or reduce the value of the miles you'd redeem. The emergency that justified it may be long gone, but the charge lives on. So when you compare flights, always look at the final, all-in total, not the base fare, because a low base fare can hide a hefty surcharge. If you fly on points, be especially aware, surcharges can quietly eat into the value of your hard-earned miles, and how you book can add fees too. Number 9. The booking method fee. You might assume it costs the same to book a flight however you choose. It doesn't. Airlines can quietly charge you more depending on how you buy your ticket. Here's what catches people. Book by phone with certain airlines, and you may be charged an extra fee, sometimes around $25 per ticket, just for talking to a human. Some fees appear when booking online through third parties too. Curiously, on certain budget airlines, booking in person at the airport ticket counter can actually let you avoid some online fees, though you might lose access to special web-only fares. The point is, the convenience of each booking channel is priced differently, and not always in your favor. So before you book, check whether your airline charges for phone bookings or rewards booking direct online. Choose the method that gives you the real lowest total, and don't assume the channel doesn't matter. To them, it does. And some fees you can't dodge at all, because they're baked into the business model. Number 8. The overbooking gamble. Here's a practice that sounds almost unbelievable. Airlines routinely sell more tickets than there are seats on the plane. It's called overbooking, and it's completely standard. Here's their reasoning. Airlines know some passengers won't show up, so to avoid flying with empty seats, they sell extras, gambling that the no-shows will balance it out. Usually it works, but sometimes everyone shows up, and then there aren't enough seats, so passengers get bumped, sometimes involuntarily. You did everything right, paid, arrived on time, and still could be denied your seat because the airline sold your spot twice. The gamble is theirs, but the disruption lands on you. So know your rights. If you're bumped from an overbooked flight against your will, you're often entitled to significant compensation, and you can negotiate. And if the airline asks for volunteers to give up seats, don't accept the first offer. Those deals are frequently negotiable upward. Now, let's expose one more piece of language they lean on. Number 7. The optional that isn't. Throughout the booking, add-ons are presented as optional, optional bag, optional seat, optional priority. It sounds like you're freely choosing luxuries you can easily skip. For many travelers, these options aren't really optional at all. Here's the sleight of hand. Calling something optional makes the airline's advertised base fare look complete and honest, while framing basic necessities, bringing luggage, sitting down, boarding in time to store your bag, as extras you're choosing to add. But if you need clothes for your trip and a place to sit, those aren't luxuries. The word optional is doing quiet work, letting the airline advertise low while charging you for things you can't realistically do without. So mentally reclassify these options. Ask which ones you genuinely need for your trip, then treat their cost as part of the real ticket price from the start. When you stop believing the necessities are optional, the low base fare stops fooling you. Now let's shift to the moves that save you money, starting with a card. Number 6. The card that kills bag fees. Here's a move frequent flyers quietly use to erase one of the biggest fees entirely. Many airlines offer co-branded credit cards, and one of their most valuable perks is free checked bags. Here's how it pays off. With the right airline credit card, your first checked bag, and often bags for companions on the same reservation, fly free. If you check a bag on a few round trips a year, the bag fee savings alone can more than cover the card's annual fee, effectively paying you to carry it. It's one of the few cases where an airline's own product genuinely works in your favor, because it removes a fee they'd otherwise collect from you every single trip. So if you fly a particular airline regularly, do the math on its co-branded card. Compare the annual fee against what you'd save on bags and other perks. Just remember the golden rule of any credit card. Only worth it if you pay it off in full and never carry a balance. And timing your check-in unlocks another free win. Number 5. The best seat timing. If you decide to skip the seat selection fee, here's how to still improve your odds of a decent seat, without paying a cent. It comes down to timing your check-in precisely. Here's the trick. When you don't pay to choose a seat, the airline assigns you one for free, but it's often whatever's left, and the earlier you check in, the better the leftover seats tend to be. Check-in typically opens exactly 24 hours before departure. Set an alarm and check in the moment that window opens, and you'll frequently snag a far better free seat than the middle of the back row you'd get by waiting. You skip the fee and still land somewhere decent. So set a reminder for exactly 24 hours before your flight, and check in the instant it opens. It's a free way to beat the seat selection fee while still improving where you sit. And there's one more booking habit worth adopting. Number 4. The free cancellation window. Here's a right most travelers have no idea they possess. The one I promised. On flights involving the United States, you're generally entitled to cancel a booking within 24 hours of purchase and receive a full refund, no penalty, as long as you booked at least a few days before departure. Here's why this matters so much. It means when you book, you have a risk-free window to reconsider. Found a mistake? Spotted a cheaper flight? Realized you added fees you didn't want? Within that first day, you can cancel and rebook cleanly, getting your money back in full. Airlines rarely advertise this because they'd prefer you feel locked in the instant you pay, but that window is a genuine, protected chance to fix a rushed decision. So use it deliberately. Book when you find a good fare, then use that first 24 hours to double-check the total price. Compare once more, and confirm you didn't get drip-priced into extras. If something's off, cancel and rebook within the window. And there's one more booking habit that keeps prices honest. Number 3. The incognito search. You may have noticed something eerie. You search a flight, come back later, and the price has crept up, as if the site knows you're interested. Whether or not airlines deliberately do this, there's a simple, cautious habit that protects you either way. Here's the reasoning. Booking sites can track your visits through your browser, and many travelers report prices seeming to rise on flights they've searched repeatedly. The airline's pricing is genuinely dynamic, shifting with demand and timing, so some of this is normal. But to be safe, you can prevent your own repeated searches from ever working against you by browsing privately, so no site builds a picture of how badly you want a particular flight. So when flight shopping, use your browser's private or incognito mode and clear your history between searches. Compare prices across a few different sites and, ideally, check the airline's own website directly. Staying a little anonymous ensures you're seeing clean prices, not ones shaped by your own eagerness. And if you collect miles, there's one more quiet trick you should know before we reach the big one. Number 2. The vanishing miles. You faithfully collect airline miles, imagining a free flight down the road. But here's something the airlines rarely spell out. The miles in your account are quietly losing value over time, and they can change the rules whenever they like. Here's the trick. Airline miles aren't like money in the bank. Their worth is set entirely by the airline, and airlines regularly devalue them, meaning the same trip that once cost a certain number of miles suddenly costs far more. They can also let miles expire if your account sits inactive, or bury hefty fuel surcharges into free award flights, so the reward isn't really free at all. Hoard your miles for years, and you may watch them quietly shrink in value the whole time, while you wait for a perfect redemption that keeps getting more expensive. So treat miles as something to use, not hoard. Redeem them within a reasonable time, rather than stockpiling them for a distant dream. Keep your account active so they don't expire, and always check for hidden surcharges before you cash them in. Miles reward action, not patience. Which brings us, at last, to the single most powerful habit of all. Number 1. Buy the total, never the fare. We've circled back to where we began, because this is the master key. Every trick on this list, the cover charge fare, the drip pricing, the optional necessities, the fuel surcharge, exists to make one number, the advertised fare, look smaller than the real cost of flying. So the single most powerful thing you can do is refuse to shop by the fare at all. Here's the mindset. Before you ever compare flights, decide exactly what you need for this trip. A bag, a seat, whatever it is, and then compare airlines only on the true, all-in total, including those things. Suddenly the games stop working. That cheap budget airline with a tiny fare and enormous fees may cost more than a traditional airline that bundles things in. You can only see that when you compare totals, not fares, which is exactly what they don't want you to do. So make it an unbreakable rule. Never book and never compare on the base fare. Add up the real cost of everything you'll actually need, then choose the flight that's genuinely cheapest all in. The airlines built their entire pricing strategy around the fare being the number you focus on. The moment you focus on the total instead, their whole illusion collapses. So there they are, 15 airline secrets, and a way to beat every one. And notice the single thread tying them together. The airlines unbundled everything to make the fare look cheap, then sell you back the pieces. Which means your power is simple. Calculate the true total, decline what you don't need, know your refund rights, and never let a low fare fool you again. Now, you've seen how they get you in the air. Next, we're going after the little piece of plastic in your wallet and revealing the credit card secrets the banks are quietly praying you never learn. We'll see you there.